So currently this is where we are in our complete application, and we've been able to display the list of countries coming from the database. We've displayed it on a web page using TimeLeaf. Now what I want us to do is to have a home for all our modules. So for instance, if I go to show you the list of the modules in our application, you have, for instance, if you have these parameters at this point, if you go to parameters home, we should be able to visit and manipulate or manage all these other objects in parameters. So we need a home to manage parameter tables. So if I come here, let me just show you what I'm saying. If I go to parameters home, I should have something like this. What it means is if I want to manage countries, I simply go to manage countries, and here I can add a new country, edit or delete. If I want to go back to parameters home, I simply go back to parameters home like this, okay? So in this way, I don't have to be going to the URL here to be typing things every now and then. So I simply should be able to navigate my application. And when this application is deployed, people can actually use this application without having to worry too much, because the module that is ready will be ready. And once you are building and getting other modules ready, they will also be ready when you redeploy the application. So let's kind of create the parameters home. I've not created this in our application. This is just a demo I'm showing you. So we are going to do this right now. So let me close up this. I'm going to come here and just stop this and actually open up the application, the one we are working with. All right, so this is the application we are working with currently. So let me just show you that is how it is. If I come back to, just give me 1 second. If I come back here and refresh this page, and this is where we are currently working. So if I go to here, you have parameters home, we have country list. We might actually remove this country list from here. So how do we create this settings page so that it can give us, we can have access to all the other modules in the settings? So the first thing I would like us to do, let's go back to our application, and I would like to add something called the breadcrumb. Alright, so in our index page, you have this row called the breadcrumb. Alright, so this is a div tag called row, is a class row, and here we have the dashboard. So I'm going to take this from here, I'm going to simply cut it from here and put it in the layout page so that it can be available in all the layouts. So I'm going to paste it in my layout page. I just opened the layout page, and I'm going to just immediately after the main content, let me just see how it's going to look like. So let me rerun this application and see how it looks like. If it doesn't look so good, then we are going to fix it. Else we simply continue what we are working with, and when we are done, we come back here. So if I refresh this page, we now have this breadcrumb, though not looking perfect, but it's still okay. I'm going to kind of move it inside the wrapper here, and let's see how it looks here. So I'm going to refresh, rerun. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and refresh this page. Okay, so I think it's looking better in this way. So now I want to add the cards. The cards to take us to different sections of this page of our application. So if I go to parameters home, should take us to different tables, as I showed you, should take us to different objects like these ones, okay? So how do we do this? The first thing we want to do is we have to go to our assets. So let's go to our assets. If I go to the assets page, so let's come back here. So if we go to our assets, we have something called grids. If I open grids, we are going to find something that gives us a grid display of different cards, and that will be here. So let's kind of collapse these, and this is a grid. I'm going to collapse the sidebar, and we have this one, we have this row here, we have other ones. So let's kind of look for the one that is going to work. We have this row here gives us LG4, LG4, LG4. I think we can use it. So let's copy this and use it. So I went to the grids and located the row that contained 3 different columns, and I'm going to use it in our index for the parameters. So I'm going to go to parameters index, and now I'm going to put this row right here. And normally, once you are doing something, always check that it works. So I'm going to run this application to check if it actually works. As I used to say, if you are joining for the first time, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any challenges, also please do let me know. So if I come back to our application now and refresh this page, you can see that it displays the grid view, the grid items. But we want it to be how many of them? There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7. So we have 3 in one row, 3 in one row, and we have 1 in the third row. That's 7 items. So let's get back to work. And now we want it to look good. So we have to go to Bootstrap and look for cards. First, I'm going to delete this because it doesn't look so well. So I'm going to go to Bootstrap website and look for cards that we are going to use. So I'm going to go to Bootstrap cards. Bootstrap cards. Look, click on it and simply scroll down, 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 down. And I think we can use this card here. It's similar to this one, it's similar to this one, but I would like us to use this. We don't need the row, we don't need the column, we only need the card. So I'm going to simply copy only the card like this, okay? Increase the font so that you see what I'm talking about. Copy only the card. It takes 2 div tags and the content. So I'm going to copy only the card. And I'm going to go back to my application, and in the content here, instead of having call LG4, because if you go back to sorry, just give me 1 second. If we go back here, instead of having call LG4, let's use the card in there. So let's go back here. So I'm going to just drop down here, drop down here, drop down here, and drop down here. So we are simply going to replace this call LG4 with the card we copied. I'm going to paste it and do the same thing here and do the same thing right here, okay? So if I rerun this application now and say stop and rerun, and we are going to see that it's going to show up perfectly well. So let's go back to HTML page. I'm going to rerun. And this is what we have, and I think it's okay. So let's duplicate it into 7 places. So I'm going to go back to our application. So I'm going to copy this row and paste it twice again, and then paste it one more time, paste one more time, and then I'm going to rerun to just see how it looks like. I'm going to stop and rerun, and let's see how it looks like. And it should be fine. So let's go back to the page. If I rerun now, and you can see we have all the cards here. Okay, let's go change something to make it look better. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to delete 2 cards from the last row. So I'm going to come here, 1 second. So I'm going to delete this. I hope I'm not messing up something. So delete the call LG4 and delete this one. So we have only 1 card in the last row. And permit me to put H3 here instead of using, I think it looks not so good, and then I'm going to say B. Okay, so I need H3 and B here. So let me just use H3 and pick out this and bold /B here. Let me see, H3 and B, so the B should be inside, not outside, so it's going to be /B here. So if I refresh again, I want to have something that looks like a title, okay? So if I come back to Google Chrome now and refresh this page, you see that this one looks good. So we want something like this, okay? So what I'm going to do now is go back to our application, and I'm going to copy this and use it to replace every other title I have. So I'm going to drop down this and second. So I'm going to replace this, replace, same thing with here, I'm going to replace, and same thing with here, I'm going to replace. I think you get the gist now. You can now do this yourself. I'm going to replace these, I'm going to come here, replace, and come here, replace as well. So now we want to have the first one, this one linking to countries. So I'm going to actually come to change the title for the first one. So instead of here, I'm going to simply say countries, and instead of go somewhere here, I'm going to say manage countries, and here in the href, I'm going to use slash countries. Okay, so if I go to manage countries, it's going to take me to the countries list. Let's try it out to see how it plays out. So I'm going to stop and rerun, and let's see how it goes. Alright, so let's go back to Google Chrome, and I'm going to refresh, and I think this is fine. So if I go to manage countries now, it takes us to countries list. If I go back to parameters home, it takes us back here. Go to manage countries, go back to parameters home, and that is fine. So what I want you to do now, because I'm going to do this off camera, you are going to take the modules here, have modules, all these items, and use to rename all these other special title treatment, rename it to rename correctly. And for now, we've not created the links, so you can actually change the caption of these links and do this renaming. I'm going to do it offline because you can now do it yourself. So once you are done with this, this is how it's going to look. Right, so this is how it's going to look, and this, I'm sure you should be able to do it. So if you go to manage countries, you come here. So now we don't actually need country lists because we can be adding lists, several lists here. We only have to add in this menu item things that have to be done frequently. For instance, we may have something like add new location. That's something that is done frequently. Maybe there is a new location, so we can have here add new location. So maybe we think of 5 operations that is done every day. Every day you can't be adding country because country is a list of countries that is not changing every time, okay? So we can't have add country here, but add location, we can have that. We can also have add client or add contact. So later on, we're gonna think of 5 operations that is normally performed every day that's gonna be added right here. For now, I hope you understand how this works. And I would like to thank you for viewing. In the next part, we now think of how we can now maybe add a new country, update and delete a country. I remain Kind the Tech Pro. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. If you have any challenges, also let me know in the comment box below. And let's see in the next part.